Okay, so this is a package that just arrived in the mail, and I am super excited to open this. I honestly didn't even get a message saying that the order had shipped. I did get a message, however, saying that the order was complete, which must have meant that it was shipped, and I just not used to hearing that, so I didn't know what it meant. Not a problem. I ordered this through IndieBound, and it came from one of my local bookstores. I say local relatively. Of course, nothing's really all that close to me. I live very far out in the country, so when I say local, it's probably an hour away, but it is a bookstore I frequented while I was in college. It's weird to say that. Weird to be done with college. But it's a store I very much enjoy. They're always very friendly, and I could have gone and picked them up, but I really didn't feel like driving all the way up there. So I had them shipped to my house. Just don't want to break anything because they're paperbacks. These books, there's 3 in here that I got. They're part of a trilogy. It's all 3 books in the series, and this is a book that I've read the first one before, and it meant so much to me that I had to get a matching, like, they changed the design of the covers. Alright, turn this over. Ready? We'll just move that. We've got Pantomime, Shadow Play, and Masquerade. And aren't these books just gorgeous? Let's see here. How do I want to set this up? There we go. So I've read this one before. These 2 I can't wait to read. These are going to be my... Well, I don't know how much beach reading I'm going to get done, but they're for my vacation that's coming up. And this one I'm probably going to read this week. Maybe just binge it all tonight. But anyways, I'll talk to you some more about that once we get into the proper review. See you in a minute. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Devlin, and welcome to this episode of our Pride Month Marathon for June 2018. So now that you've seen me unbox it, I thought you might like to get to know a little bit about the books that I'm going to be talking about today. I'm only going to be reviewing one of them because I've only read one of them, but I wanted to do this review now and talk about it now since the books arrived today. If you're interested, I could do follow-up reviews in the future, maybe after Pride Month, or maybe even for another video in Pride Month, because I'm always switching things out. I'm not recording these much in advance. It's kind of all on the fly here. So I thought I'd show you what my original copy looked like. So this is what the original copy looked like. This is what the copy I just bought looks like. They don't have the same description on the back. I guess I would like to read you both of them, but we'll do that later. I will hold this one up while I talk about it, since this is the copy that most people will be able to get a hold of. You might be able to find that one. I did buy this one secondhand. That was how I was able to get a hold of it. Yeah, so Pantomime is about a young girl named Jean, short for Iphigenia. I'm not sure if I said that right, but she doesn't like the name at all, and she ditches it, so to speak, soon enough. So Jean is living at home, living a life that would be very similar to a modern debutante's life. She lives in a alternate sort of Victorian universe. I wouldn't say it's supposed to be London per se, but it sort of reminds me a lot of Victorian London. It is a very almost steampunk setting, although all of their technology and all their machinery comes from magic, which the magical beings that created the magical tools that they use to run their things now they haven't been seen in a long time. So, you know, there's magic and there's worlds, but there's no magical beings, no real magical practitioners and all that sort of thing. So Jean is living her life as best as she can. She's not really comfortable with her day-to-day life, what she has to do. You know, as a young lady, as a young socialite, she'd much rather be doing some of the things that her brother is doing, you know, studying history, all sorts of things like that. And she also has to keep a secret that she was born intersex. She is both, quote, male and female. And she has to hide this because, of course, if the society knew about this, she'd never get married, she'd be shunned, all that sort of thing. And she feels like her mother resents her for it. It's never explicitly said, but you can definitely tell between their interactions that's how she feels about it, and that was how I felt on Jean's behalf when I was reading the book. Yeah. So when her parents plan to betray her to, quote, fix her, she sheds her life as Jean and becomes Micah, a young boy who quite literally runs away and joins the circus. He is now working in the circus to survive, to make a living, to have a roof over his head, and just to survive as an orphan in the city, because the story he tells is that his family is dead. And he begins to make a life for himself. He enjoys it. He has a mentor. He's falling for one of his fellow aerialists, and she is also his partner and fellow student. But unfortunately, his past continues to try and catch up to him as people are sent after him to find Jean and return him to his parents for money. And then when accused of murder, he is forced to flee with one of his fellow performers. The magic that hasn't been seen in hundreds of years is brewing under his skin, so he is forced to run and hide because of that. So with that very short, brief description, I feel kind of sad that I can't review the other two for you, but that'll happen soon enough. I cannot wait to read them. Okay, so you might be wondering how, why there's two different books, why they look so different. I mean, it's not that uncommon for books to have recovers and stuff or change their theme throughout, but why bother redoing the first one then or something? I don't know. I'm not really sure how all that works. But what happened with this book is that it was originally published by Strange Chemistry in, I think, 2013 it says. And then Strange Chemistry, I believe, went bankrupt, or it closed its doors. So then eventually later on, I believe it's Pan Macmillan. It says, first published in 2013 by Strange Chemistry, an imprint of Angry Robot. This edition is published in 2016 by Pan Books, an imprint of Pan Macmillan. So that is what they did. So I don't know yet if I'm going to give this copy of the book away. It's kind of grody on the back, so it had stickers back here that I peeled off and apparently didn't get all the sticky bits off. But this book is kind of, I don't know, it's special to me. It was the first LBGT book I ever bought myself. It was not the first one I read, but it was the first one I bought. I bought it, I think, about 4 years ago, perhaps, around 2014, maybe 2015, when I was looking for books. Yeah, it wouldn't have been 2014. It probably would have been 2015. Maybe 2016, but I think 2015. When I was first coming to terms with my bisexuality and I wanted books with bisexual characters. This was one of the books I picked off of a Tumblr list, recommending books with bisexual leads. Even though neither Micah nor Jean ever identify as bisexual. I know I'm saying that like they're two different people, but they are the same person. But Micah is still very much figuring things out, and they're not sure, are they a boy, are they a girl, what is their identity, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to be respectful to their progress in that way. Anyways, and it's interesting now that I'm starting, I don't want to say to question, but to examine, shall we say, my gender and my perceptions of my own gender, that I picked a book with a character that is more gender fluid. I'm not intersex, but I feel like I relate a lot to Micah, and I mean, who doesn't want to run away and join the circus? Isn't that every little kid's dream? I mean, not so much now that circuses aren't hugely popular, but anyways, also this book is important beyond my own personal, reasons. It is a good book. I definitely recommend it, but I think it's definitely important because it's an Own Voices book. Now, as far as I'm aware, the author Laura Lam, honestly, did I mention that this is by Laura Lam? This series is by Laura Lam. She hasn't said anything as to whether she's intersex or not. I do not believe she is, but I'm not going to say for sure because I don't know. Anyways, it's not Own Voices in that way, but she is bisexual. I almost said canonically, she has come out and said she's bisexual. She is open about that. So it is an Own Voices book in that way, and that's really nice because I feel like there's not as much of that out there, especially with a relationship that especially with a relationship that is of two people of different genders, because Micah falls for a female aerialist in his group, his fellow student. So I think it's important to have that to show that, you know, bisexuality isn't always, you know, male and male, female and female, that sort of thing. It can include gender fluid people. It can include, you know, it can kind of include anybody. It's not, you know, it's not strictly binary, shall we say. So that is why I think that this book is so important. I'm sorry, I just like clanged all the stuff on my knitting shelf. And this series is important. And I will, if you're interested, let you know what I think about these books once I've read them. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of rambly, rather spur of the moment video. Yeah, so I will see y'all in a couple days. Bye!